Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Star Trek Lower Decks Fake Nerds Watch. This is the final episode of Fake Nerds Watch for this Star Trek show. There will be many more Fake Nerds Watch Star Trek in the future, I hope. I am, as always, joined by Michael Karls from the Downright Nerdy podcast.
Thank you for having me again.
Of course. And Cookie from the Just a Little podcast.
Thank you for having me as well.
It's weird when you have podcast in the name.
Yeah.
We're talking today about the final episode of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2. We're a little late to this one because this guy over here had to go and get married. So, congratulations.
Worst decision ever. I'm joking. You're going to have a great time.
This is the first time I've talked to you since you got married. So congratulations, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, you guys. Very nice of you guys. Thank you. Yeah, we got married last weekend, and so far we're still going. So,
I mean, who knows? It's still early.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of time, I guess.
Yeah, you got years with this woman. Now you can have Downright Nerdy be a married podcast.
There you go.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to do any spoiler alerts or anything like that, but possibly.
Oh, there you go. Not only though are we talking about Star Trek Lower Decks, episode 10. I have it first contact. We are going to, and by we I mean two of us because one of us didn't finish it. We're going to be talking about Star Trek: The Q Conflict, which was a 6-issue miniseries that came out, written by. Boy, I should have had this ready. There it is. Oh yeah, Scott and Dave Tipton. Pencils by David Messina and Sylvia Califano. I'm sorry. So we're going to talk briefly about it, just spoilers, because we brought this book up a couple of weeks ago, and we said it would kind of be fun to be talk about it. So let's do some non-spoilers, just quick thoughts on this one, Michael, because you and I read it, and Cookie, you read the first 4 pages.
Yes.
What did you think about those first 4 pages?
I really enjoyed it. I've always been a fan of Q. I think Q is a dynamic being that brought a lot to Star Trek. It made Star Trek a lot grander, and it gave it a lot of freedom, a lot of creative freedom. So I like the fact that we're having 6 issues explore more into Q. So anytime there's Q involved, I'm all in. So I'm excited to hear your guys' thoughts on it. I did like the cover. I thought the cover was really cool.
I like the cover too. It's kind of my favorite part.
Really
I give it to you. I think the cover is the best part of the book.
So
all right. Throwing the shade already. What did you think of it, Michael?
Actually, no. Okay, so like I said before, I gave it a B- B or like C+ ish. It wasn't my favorite storyline. I thought it was a little scattered plot wise and theme wise actually as well. But I mean, it was okay. I feel like they just tried to cram too much into 6 issues. They have a whole bunch of different crews coming in, and they mix and match them like with this Q game kind of thing. And I mean, I thought it was fine, but with the stakes involved, I feel like it wasn't appropriate for what the stakes were, even though it is Q and he's notoriously known for making things, just serious things, kind of into these silly games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, either way, I mean, it didn't wow me, but it didn't bore me. So
sure,
that's my spoiler free.
I forgot.
Hey, look at that! Hey.
I'm kind of bummed now because mine's sitting in my closet. Now I feel like I need to put mine on.
There you go. I forgot I was wearing that. So the idea of this comic is that Q is waging a war with 3 other beings of not equal level, but beings we've met before throughout Star Trek. The kind of Q-like beings, these omnipotent beings throughout Star Trek we've met. And he's going to war with them because he, in his words, needs to put them into place. And in order to not have his war be so destructive on the Alpha Quadrant, he enlists the help of the 4 main crews, Kirk, Janeway, Picard, and Sisko throughout time. And I think for the most part, Scott and Dave Tipton do a really good job of getting the voices of Picard and Janeway and Sisko and their crews. But I think where they struggle, strangely enough, was with Kirk. I did not like this portrayal of Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fine. But even still, the story still didn't. I mean, it didn't really. It still didn't grab me as much. As much.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned, it is a lot. It's a trip down Star Trek memory lane. That every single issue is something from Star Trek lore that needs to be important. And I found myself going like, "Oh, right, this was a thing, and this was meant to call back to this, and this was."
Ironically, since we are doing a Lower Deck show, and we talked about how well Lower Decks is able to pull stuff from other series in history and make it work. I feel like Q was it Q Continuum or Q Conflict?
Q Conflict.
They tried doing that, but it didn't work as smoothly. It was it felt very forced. It felt very it's like, hey, remember this thing that was a thing in Star Trek? Here it is, right here, you know. And I almost felt a little offended as a Star Trek fan.
I don't think I'd go so far as to say that.
No, I'm not. You know,
yeah, I know. I did find this to be a fun read. Like Cookie said, I like Q. I think he's a fun character, and he's written well in this. But there is the forcefulness of these Star Trek references that don't quite work out as well as I would hope, especially having Lower Decks do a similar thing in a better way. And there are things that I appreciate, like, you know, when they're talking about their, like, Janeway and Picard are like, we're not going to shoot each other. We're not going to kill each other. This contest has to be non-lethal, you know, and it turns out to just be like fetch quests and capture the flag or destroy the world destroyer, which I thought was actually a fun issue. I think the best issue is the world destroyer one, because we get to kind of see the crews work together to try and defeat this monstrosity from the original series, which I always liked. But all in all, I think it's an all right read that doesn't quite come together at the end as well as I would hope, because at the end it just becomes like let's just all shoot people, you know, not quite the Star Trek fun I want. Yeah.
One thing I will say, the artwork definitely picks up. It seems like picks up where the story kind of left behind. And
yes,
my biggest question for you guys is, do you think that because your minds, I wouldn't say are tainted by Lower Decks, but are enhanced by Lower Decks, that because you've gone through a great experience with that, now this takes away from this story? Do you think if Lower Decks wasn't involved in your life, that this story would be good because you've never had that experience where you're picking pieces from different generations of Star Trek and putting it all into one?
That's a good point. I actually don't know. I know Mike is very like, no.
He's adamant. He's like, that's not happening.
I don't know, because I think if I didn't have Lower Decks doing a similar thing, I don't know if I would be so opposed to the idea of being like, oh, I remember that. Oh, there's a fun Easter egg. Oh, this is, and kind of having that kind of Easter egg trip through Memory Alpha Lane, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I had told you already that my expectations for any Star Trek show are very, very high, because we've had such great Star Trek in TNG, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise. So anytime that we see new content, I'm expecting it to be at that level. And when we talk about getting, you know, picking things and mixing and matching, I mean, if it's Lower Decks aside, I mean, I've gotten that out of that novel, that trilogy series I showed you a couple of weeks back, Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
That was a kind of a similar kind of thing, just minus Q-ish. But I mean, if I'm saying like will Lower Decks affect my liking of this, I don't think so, because I already have that high expectation.
Gotcha.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. There is one thing I'm going to spoil for you, Cookie.
Uh-oh.
Towards the middle of the book. One of my favorite things is that we get the prophets involved.
Okay.
And
from Deep Space Nine prophets, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And one of the things is like, okay, for this competition, just get the prophets to say something. I don't care what it is. Just I want them to poke their head out of the wormhole. I don't care how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Q is adamant about it because the prophets didn't contribute in his little war games. Like they were invited and they were like, no, we're above this.
Gotcha.
And it was kind of fun seeing the prophets, who I guess like they have to explain the prophets aren't as powerful as Q, but kind of give Q a moment where he's on the back foot, and you don't normally see that. And I thought that was a cool, fun kind of prophets versus Q bit. Mm-hmm. And Kirk is the one to talk to the prophets, which was a nice subversion of what we've seen before.
Instead of Cisco being the main person to talk.
Because each team tries to figure out how to talk to them.
The best written part of Kirk of the entire series, I think. Just that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I thought that was just kind of fun because like the prophets are like distorting all of reality and destroying it, and Q was like, "Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't want this." I thought that was fun, but all in all, I don't think this is not a bad read. It's just not a.
I'm still gonna read it though, regardless.
Yeah,
like even though I'm only 4 in,
it's worth it for free on Hoopla, 100%.
Yeah, that's where I've been reading it. So,
the reason why I brought it up, the reason why I want to talk about it is because I think that something that would be fun is if Paramount Plus invested in a movie that brought all the living crews together and like new track. The character models for Lower Decks are human enough that their actors could play their roles and you would accept them. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be kind of fun to see Lower Decks, Picard, Discovery, and whoever else from the classic Trek era want to come back, teaming up for a mission of some sort. Maybe not Q being involved, but I think having what I'm essentially pitching is an Arrowverse-like crossover for Star Trek is kind of a missed opportunity if they don't go for it, in my opinion.
Well, do you foresee that possibly happening? Maybe not in this season coming up with Picard, but maybe in a future season of Picard, because we've already had certain characters come back. We've already had certain characters mentioned. There's always that possibility.
I don't know if I personally, I don't want it in Picard. I do kind of want Picard to cross over with some of the more legacy characters. Like I keep saying, I want Ezri Dax in Picard so bad. But I could see.
You need to read that Destiny book, bro.
I'm aware. By the way, they're not in print anymore, and my Barnes and Nobles just got rid of their Star Trek sections. I'm pissed.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, better get on that eBay, man.
I know, seriously.
I'm not getting rid of mine. I'm sorry.
I don't want yours. I want to get my own. I would love to see a movie, like a made-for-TV Star Trek movie that have all of them come back, kind of a mission. And I don't even need like all the characters, but like the main characters. I don't need everyone's crew. I don't need Rafi and
but
whoever the hell's in Discovery.
It's all going to be based around her RV. That's going to
be. Here we go.
I hate you. I was hoping married life would mellow you.
Listen, if you really think about it,
enhance my senses.
If she has an RV, she can technically travel in her home wherever she wants to.
She can have her own.
Then why is she so pissed about living in an RV? I don't want to talk about Picard. Frack that show. All right. Anyway.
Frack.
Anyway, we're here. Let's talk about Lower Decks. How about we get to the main event? Star Trek Lower Decks.
Can I say something?
Yes, say something.
So when I first started watching this episode, I was like, "Oh, I told these guys so that this was what's going to happen," and it took a left turn, and I was so happy it did. I thought it was fantastic. Just throwing that out there from the jump.
What was that you
got you
Hassan?
I thought that they were going to have the captain kind of be lost in space or be taken away, and they're going to have to now try to find her and try to bring her back. And the whole crew is going to have to kind of get together, and Mariner is going to become the captain in command.
Oh, and you're right. You did say that.
I started to see that happen. I started to see the trend go in that direction, but they took slight left turns here and there, which made it good. They made the story better than what I was going to make it, so I'm happy.
Yeah, so the episode's title is First Contact. I've got it ready this time. And it opens with them talking about Captain Freeman getting a promotion to another ship, a capital ship, which is what she's always wanted. She's talking to Captain Salazar. I want to say his name is
Admiral.
No, the captain of the new ship, of that new Excelsior type ship.
Wait, you're talking about Sonia Gomez?
Gomez, thank you.
Yeah, she was the one. Yeah, do you guys know who she is?
Yeah, she's the one who spilled hot chocolate on Picard.
Yeah.
I remember her.
All right, good.
I'm just gonna nod and agree. Just yes.
What a pull, though. What a pull, though. Like, I always thought that they would bring in. I thought they would bring in a cameo from the Next Generation or something. But like the one ensign who was on the ship for 3 episodes, whose most memorable thing was spilling a drink on Captain Picard.
Well, the funny thing is that she, like, in a lot of ways, like, she was Boimler. You know,
you're right. She was Boimler.
She was such a fan, you know, and she became a captain. Mm-hmm. So it's possible.
Good for her. I'm glad she became a captain. I'm happy that trajectory happened.
It's destiny for Boimler.
I mean, it's a destiny for every ensign eventually, right?
Yeah, and hope
they've all got to become captains eventually. Come hell or high water. It's just after a while you become the commander.
You never know.
Oh yeah, we got to do it, right?
No, I mean, it's not. It depends on what they do, obviously, right?
If they're like security or if they're engineering, they might not be a captain.
Or I mean, you remember that episode where Q sends Picard back, and he's like, "Oh, if I could make some changes, he wouldn't have been stabbed by a Nazi and wouldn't take all those chances, and he would have ended up as a nobody lieutenant that the crew doesn't even know."
I will only fight that by saying that Scotty became a captain of engineering.
Okay,
you can become a captain. You can become
There's
a captain.
only so many ships.
No, you can become a captain without being in command of a ship.
Okay, it's understandable.
Because command is different than promotion. Like you don't become a captain, you immediately become a ship captain. You have to be on a certain command track. You can become a captain regardless of whether or not you're going to be in command. So eventually Picard could have become a captain, but just not in command of a vessel. And that's what he's talking about, because he's like, is there any way you can promote me into the command track?
Makes sense.
See? So, Star Trek.
That's why you're the smartest one out of all of us when it comes to Star
Trek. That's right. What was my score of the last one?
31 out of 33.
Oh, you're still holding on to that? I don't remember.
Yeah. I think you cheated.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember. All right. But this episode doesn't just introduce a long forgotten character from the Next Generation as a captain. It also introduces a new ship, which I think is gorgeous. Do you know what the
class as well?
Yeah. You got that memory alpha up, right?
I do, yeah.
It's saved in one of his tabs.
I mean, it should be.
It is actually. I'm trying to find the tab. Obina class starship. The new type of starship.
They mentioned that it's modeled off of the Excelsior class.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
By the way, the Excelsior class, like, remember that ship was meant to be like it's gonna have transwarp drive, and we're gonna be the fastest ship in Star. And now it's just a workhorse ship, and it's just taking admirals from back and forth.
Yeah.
I really like the design of that new ship. I think it's really cool. I always like seeing capital ships versus what we see.
I like it.
Yeah. I like that the gray and black uniforms are still in service on the capital ships, and we see like the second class ships don't really have that. But the crux of the episode is that a supernova, an explosion? Oh, a supernova destroys a planetoid, which creates a bunch of meteorites,
like an asteroid field, almost. Yeah,
like an asteroid field, and the ship, the Oberon class, is in a free fall to the planet that they're supposed to make first contact on.
Because
they traveled through there in order to try to make contact or whatever, but their magnetic shields
failed.
Yeah, it got all screwy while in there, and then they were essentially their entire ship was, think of like an EMP blast kind of thing, and they just shut down, and it's barreling towards the planet, and so they're trying to figure out how to get their ship back online, but they can't because nothing's working.
Mhm.
So, what's it, Mariner? Or no, I'm sorry, not Mariner. Freeman's ship, the Cerritos. They got to figure out a way to traverse this magnetic asteroid field without losing the capabilities of the ship and go save the God, what was it called again?
Yeah, what was the name of the ship?
The Archimedes.
The Archimedes. Thank you.
Yeah.
To be fair, I watched this last week, so it's been a while.
Same.
Me too, actually. Yeah, but I got Memory Alpha, so
Yeah, you got
Thank
Memory
you,
Alpha.
Memory Alpha.
Memory Alpha, by the way, I think we're always gonna plug Memory Alpha on the show. For those of you watching, Memory Alpha is a great source for Star Trek fans and should always, if you're a Star Trek fan, you should always be checking Memory Alpha.
And for those who work at Memory Alpha, if you'd like to pick up three more fans that could help you with it and help you plug, or I don't know what else we could do to help.
You want to sponsor us?
Plugging you guys, yeah, it'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, if you want to sponsor the show, that'd be great.
Yeah, throwing it out there.
We're always plugging Memory Alpha. We don't need a sponsorship. It'd be nice if you want to just throw it our
need
way.
a sponsorship, so I'm desperate right now. I'm throwing darts in the wind.
Just throwing darts at Memory Alpha, like please sponsor us.
Yeah.
The fan Wikipedia site.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to. So the Cerritos is like, we need to save the ship, and there's no way through that asteroid, and going around it is impossible. So their solution is to remove the outer hull.
Yes, strip it.
Which I think is an awesome idea, and it looks visually so cool having all the people, and you got your little First Contact reference with the little pump thing that like pops out the hull. I thought all of that looked really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was very aesthetically pleasing. I really enjoyed the entire sequence of how they did that.
Yeah, this is also the episode where the Doctor is trying to get Tendi, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tendi thinks that she's no longer going to be on the ship because she overheard the Doctor, same as Mariner, kind of overhearing about her mom getting the promotion. So it's like you're getting two spectrums, two different storylines of like a side piece storyline within the big one.
Yeah, and this is kind of where, we always talk about Lower Decks shining, that they stuff so much plot and story into this 30-minute episode. We've got Freeman is being promoted to a capital ship, and she can't take her senior staff, and her senior staff is now upset because Mariner did, was a dick. And Tendi is afraid that Dr. T'Ana is going to fire her and transfer her off the Cerritos. Rutherford is dealing with the fact that he's got to wipe his memory, and he's scared that if he does that, he'll lose all of his memories of Tendi again.
But how sweet was it that he made 3 backups to every memory that he had with Tendi?
So sweet.
Yeah, I love that.
And he's scared that like the reason why he did that is because he doesn't want to lose those memories again. So constantly.
And who was it that convinced him to delete it? He's like, they had some line.
It was Billups, wasn't it?
Billups said something like, "Hey, if your relationship with her is so important, then you just keep making new memories or something, something like that. Something
because he can't make new memories anymore.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. But in erasing it, he may have unlocked a memory that he wasn't supposed to see.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. When he's like, oh, he'll never know or whatever.
He'll think this was voluntary.
Yeah, he'll think this. Oh God, that's terrifying.
Isn't that?
Maybe, oh God, can you imagine? He's going to be the new Section 31.
Whew.
Oh my God! If we bring back Section 31. Oh. You know what? Normally I'd be excited, but Discovery has just tainted so much.
If there's anybody who can turn Section 31 into something decent, it's going to be Lower Decks.
I get that, but I'm so sick of the Section 31. Well, we're still getting that show.
I know. I can't wait. I think what's her name? Rafi is going to have a secret passageway in her RV that goes deep underground. That's why she wants it there.
It's like it's a cover.
I'm getting.
All right, we don't need to deal with that anymore.
Now you see how it feels, Mike. Now you see how it feels when you do it to me on your show.
I don't need this negativity on this show. Anyway, God, you really throwing me for a loop, man.
I'm gonna write a fan fiction for you. All right,
Jesus.
dedicated to you.
I could see them doing Section 31. It would probably make the most sense if it was Section 31 because there's nothing in Starfleet that we know of that would force someone to have some sort of implant. We learned that he was in an accident, right? And the implant was to help the accident. Wasn't that?
To help the accident.
Right. And that was so long ago that I don't actually remember what the actual explanation we got was, but now we know whatever it was a lie, and there's a buried memory that he accessed on accident.
Oh no. It said in the show that Rutherford got a cybernetic implant because he wanted one, not because he needed one.
Oh, so then it was always kind of played up the idea that like if he, why would he want that? So they implanted the memory.
No, but remember his memory? He's going to think it's voluntary. They probably implanted the memory that he wanted it.
Yeah. So they. Oh man, I wonder who did it. Maybe it wasn't Starfleet. Maybe it was someone else.
I think it was Section 31.
Maybe it was whoever blew up the Packlet planet, which was the twist at the end of the episode.
Yeah, because she got arrested. It had a very like an adverse Worf goodbye at the end of season 3 of TNG when he's walking down the hallway, but instead, she's in chains.
We skipped a lot of spots though, guys. We skipped a whole bunch in there.
I know we skipped a lot. I'm skipping around. What do you want to bring up?
Just the fact of Boimler having to go underwater with the dolphins. I thought that was cool.
I don't want to talk about cetacean ops yet. I really want to talk about that, but I want to wait a bit.
Okay, all right, we'll wait. That, and then just Mariner coming to the realization that she has 2 different families. She has her family, which is in lower decks, and then she has her mom that's there. And she needs to make sure that she keeps her family in check, and she needs to realize that, hey, her family loves her.
Yes. Mariner's arc in the season and Rutherford's arc, honestly, are 2 of my favorite arcs in the season.
And going into this season, they were a couple of your least favorite characters too.
Rutherford was. I always liked Mariner, but Rutherford was. And now now I really like Rutherford.
Yeah.
We didn't really get a lot of character development for Tendi or Boimler in this season. They really focused a lot on Rutherford and especially Mariner.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate doing the work on Rutherford.
It was expected with Mariner. It wasn't expected with Rutherford, which was
surprising. And the fact that the thing about Star Trek Lower Decks that you always forget is that they are still canon. They are still making Star Trek canon. They're a comedy show, but they're still Star Trek. So having Rutherford dealing with his with the decision to erase all of his memories of Tendi in the last season, have that be something that keeps weighing on him throughout the season was a really good choice and a really surprising one that I constantly was surprised would be brought up.
Yeah, 100% agree.
All right, well, we should talk about the Packlet planet being destroyed after we talk about cetacean ops.
Okay.
We finally see cetacean ops.
This is so cool.
This is the weirdest thing that we ever. This is the weirdest thing about Star Trek: The Next Generation is that the Enterprise D has a place where dolphins are working on the ship, being supervised by whales.
Yes,
that's the weirdest thing about. That's the weirdest fact about that show, and the only reason why it was never shown is because they never could get the budget. That's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing. I cannot believe it's canon to Star Trek, but because it is, Lower Decks was finally able to be like, hey, we can finally show cetacean ops.
Yes.
And we see
I just memory alpha cetacean ops. It was created by a time-traveling USS Enterprise C. Dr. Joshua Kim was ordered to report to this facility on the Enterprise D shortly after the warship encountered a temporal rift. And then that's pretty much all it really has in terms of background on it.
It was in yesterday's Enterprise? It was in yesterday's Enterprise?
Weird. Yeah, that was the only The term cetacean ops is only heard in the background chatter during yesterday's Enterprise. The subtitles for the episode on streaming services, including Netflix and Amazon. As well as TNG's the season 3 Blu-ray gives the facility name as Station Ops, so they renamed it.
There's a couple of background
on a line in the episode "A Perfect Mate," in which Geordi mentions dolphins on board, may have alluded to the existence of the facility. However, it wasn't until Star Trek Lower Decks that it was established that cetacean ops also existed in the regular timeline.
So there is a there's like a manual, an Enterprise D manual book.
Yep, I'm reading that right now.
Yeah, that establishes cetacean ops.
It says that has a navigation lab and 4 cetacean lifeboats were located on Deck 13, with the navigation labs extending into Deck 14 as well.
There's just 2 whales on this ship. There's 2 whales. Whale crew members. There are crew members who are whales on the Enterprise D. Isn't that weird?
I will say this though,
too. Like, wouldn't you think that the translator would be able to translate all that?
Yeah.
I guess
also, whales are extinct.
Not here. These aren't whales. Maybe these are narwhals or something. I don't know.
That's fair. Right. No, sorry. Humpback whales were extinct.
Yeah.
You're right.
There's several different types of whales.
There's a book called Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't know if you guys have ever read it.
I'm aware of it.
Okay, so I want to say I think that the dolphins and the whales are a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is a massive sci-fi book, and dolphins being the quintessential brains of Earth, if you will.
They're beluga whales.
But on the Enterprise D, I know they are on the Cerritos, but in the Enterprise D, what were they?
There's no mention of what type they are.
See? So I'm just imagining blue whales. Blue whales.
Wow.
Right? Can you imagine the biggest whales on?
Okay, hold on.
There are 2 whales who are supervising a bunch of dolphins on the Enterprise D. How weird is that?
How many different types of whales?
There is also background panels that have cetacean ops written on them, and the PB&J room, which was just something they wrote, which gets a mention.
There are 90 species of whales, dolphins, and porpoises.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it just makes sense that the blue whale would be the one on Enterprise D. Of the 90 whales, I'm just saying.
That's hilarious.
That'd be funny, though. Can you just imagine a blue whale with a pad?
Jeez.
You gotta have like a poke on the pad. Anyway, we get the PB&J room reference also from Star Trek: The Next Generation as well, which is a deep cut. And one of the things that Lower Decks excels at are just, we get the deep cuts and then we get the really deep cuts. And so the cetacean ops, obviously in Lower Decks fashion, the 2 whales are horny.
Mm-hmm. They keep
for
wanting
Rutherford.
to go skinny dipping. Want them to go skinny dipping.
Yeah, but you know what? They do save the ship. They get Boimler out of there. I loved that we got to see cetacean ops. I was so excited. I didn't know we were gonna. And when we see just this pool with 2, and they're wearing little Starfleet uniforms.
Oh yeah, they are Lieutenant Junior grades named Kimolu and Matt.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I hope we see more of them.
I bet you we will. I wouldn't be surprised.
Season 3, Mike McMahon. Season 3.
They got to be so bored though, if you really think about it. They're probably literally in like a small little tank.
They can't go to 10 forward. They can't go to like any. Can they even go into?
Do they sleep in there?
Can they beam into a holodeck? Maybe if it's filled with water.
Oh, maybe. But is holographic water the same as normal water?
Who knows?
I know the holodeck uses the same type of matter that the replicators use, and it's solid. But can they breathe in holographic water the same way?
I would assume that if you can eat holographic food that the replicators make, you could breathe the same thing.
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't matter because at that point the holodeck's probably just magic.
And it's not big enough to hold a blue whale.
I disagree. I know they've mentioned that the walls are still there whenever that thing opens, but I'm just saying they're not. Because you can be on what, by the way, the best use of a holodeck was Orville. I will hold to that.
Orville's so great. Such a great show.
Yeah.
When they're looking at the what's her name? Shoot, the strong girl from the first season.
I know you talk about. Yeah, it's been years though.
Yeah, but when they're looking down at her in the holodeck and she's just running on a track, but the hallways are moving around her, so cool. Anyway, that's some Orville love. That's next year, guys.
Time flies.
Yeah. Season 3. Okay, I love Cetacean Ops. This isn't my favorite episode. That's still a couple episodes back, but this is just another solid episode. And I don't even think it's even as good as the last episode of last season. But it's still, I think Lower Decks is still constantly the most solid of the Star Trek shows that are on the air right now.
100% agree.
Yeah. The end of the episode, as I said before, is Packlet Planet is destroyed, which was a shock that there was literally a Star Trek episode happening in the background of the Star Trek episode. Because the Packlet, like a whole planet being destroyed, would be the episode of any other Star Trek show. But this show chose to do the rescue of this other ship in true Lower Decks fashion and complete the arc of having the Cerritos be the ones to do the first contact. Yeah. Which what the title, it's their first contact. Normally they do second contact. And I thought having that moment where Freeman is like, I was wrong. This is my family. I shouldn't leave my crew. Was just solid character stuff.
And it's like you don't have a choice. You need to go to trial.
Yeah, now but we're arresting you. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think their evidence is a little flimsy though, to be honest. When they're like, we saw you on Packlet Planet.
Yeah, this is one thing that I would say, like throughout the entire first 2 seasons, that this is the most un-Star Trek part of Lower Decks, because they're going on such just scrapes. So they're just pulling on a thread.
Yeah, right? Because it was a mission.
Yeah, how are you going to arrest somebody without at least interviewing them first? You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, yeah, there's evidence of her on Packlet Planet, but months before it was destroyed.
even when Picard on several occasions was accused of violating the Prime Directive, they never put him in handcuffs, right? They just all right, well, at most we're gonna treat you with respect or anything like that, but they don't treat her with respect at all. I mean, maybe it's because that she's on this California class starship. She's kind of lower. She's the lower decks of like Starfleet Command.
Yeah. In the same respect.
Yeah, maybe that's why. But I mean, it still didn't seem Starfleet to me. Does that make sense? Am I just saying?
I totally agree. The whole idea of them coming to the Cerritos and being like, we think you destroyed Packlet Planet because you were saving this Starfleet vessel, this new Starfleet vessel, and we saw you on Packlet Planet once, is just the flimsiest argument I've ever heard. And there's got to be something more, and I'm sure the next season there is more.
Yeah. There definitely has to. I mean, this is part 1 of 2, so I mean, I almost didn't even want to bring that up because it is part 1 of 2.
No, but it is the finale, and we're talking about the finale. Yeah. In order to I need to see the whole picture to kind of judge it on, and I do think that's why this episode isn't the strongest finale. Unlike the last episode, like the last season, which had a really strong finale, this one just kind of falls a little flat because you're left wondering, like, okay, well, we know she was framed. The audience has no question that she was framed because this is the flimsiest argument you've ever made. So what are we supposed to feel other than anger at Starfleet?
Maybe that's the point.
Maybe
that's the point.
Who do you think did it? Who do you think destroyed Packlet Planet?
The Klingons.
You think it was the Klingons?
I don't see why not.
I don't know. I think it's Rutherford and the Packlet Planet, I think, are related. But I don't know if it's the Klingons, because we know that that it was just one Klingon who was doing it.
Or do you think maybe when Rutherford deleted everything, he accidentally deleted the Packlet Planet and just triggered some bomb?
He destroyed the Packlet Planet? That'd be funny.
Yeah. And he has no recollection of it whatsoever.
It would be weird that the Klingons wouldn't it would be weird that it would be Klingons because we know that only one Klingon was supplying the Packlids, and
To our knowledge, though.
to our knowledge, that's true. But why would the Klingon High Council? And so, but if that
I
guy,
get what you're saying. Yeah, it doesn't make sense either.
if that kid was going back to Klingon High Council to be like, "Hey, this dude was supplying,"
Although
the Packlids,
I wouldn't.
why would they frame Freeman?
I wouldn't put it past the Packlids to have accidentally killed themselves.
Yeah, there's also that.
Yeah.
They could have also destroyed their own planet.
Yeah.
Which I would wholeheartedly believe.
Yeah.
That's
probably the most believable one.
Yeah, I'm curious though. See what maybe it was. I don't know. Oh, by the way, there's a reference to the in Star Trek Q conflict. There's the little parasite things who are the villains of season 1 that were meant to be the Borg. If you know,
spoilers,
failed miserably.
In the first season of Star Trek: The Next Generation, Cookie, I don't know if you remember, but there were these little parasite things that were in like all of Starfleet High Command. These little goopy parasite things
that they just forgot about for the next 7 seasons or forever after that.
They were meant to be the Borg.
Oh.
And like Gene Roddenberry was setting up the Borg and they were going to be like the advanced forces. And then when we finally met the Borg, that idea had gone so far out the window that they were just like, screw it.
It is what it is. Forget it.
Screw it. We don't care anymore. All right. I don't know if I have much more other than to say, thank goodness they didn't explain what an EMP is. Because everyone does that and we don't need it explained. We know what an EMP is.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to add?
It's a good season. I liked it.
Yeah.
Solid.
Another solid season of this show. I can't wait for the next season. I don't know when the next season is going to start. Probably around the same time next year.
Probably.
But hope we get to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, thank you for inviting us. I had a great time.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys
start that goodness with you.
I'm glad you guys were able to do this with me. Let's see. We got Prodigy, Discovery, Picard, Strange New Worlds, and maybe Lower Decks after that.
Cool.
So here's hoping. We're not too far away from season 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks.
Yeah, exactly.
Solid show. I loved it. But that's it. There's no more Lower Decks to talk about, and we're all really sad about it.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart.
But fret not. We're not too far away from the next Star Trek, which is Star Trek Prodigy, which is airing Thursday, October 28th.
Oh, wow. Real quick, just in a few days.
Just in a few days. I don't know where are we going to talk? Do we want to do this for Prodigy?
I'm down.
All right.
Possibility.
If you guys are down, maybe we'll get the first episode to watch, see what we think, and we'll go from there. I think we're probably landing on we'll definitely do Discovery though, season 4.
Yeah, Discovery and Picard, I think, right?
Yeah, I think we're probably definitely going to do Discovery and Picard when they air, and Strange New Worlds whenever that is. But Prodigy is the one where I'm like, it might not be our demographic.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's made by Nickelodeon, so
yeah. Still might be a solid show, but there might not be a whole lot to just discuss and whatnot. So
hey, that was fun for your kids, right?
Right.
For Discovery, I'm on episode 7 right now.
You're almost there.
I'm getting there.
What happened at the end? What happened in episode 7?
Okay, so what's her name? I can't remember her name. Will come to me in a second. The captain who came from the other dimension,
Georgia.
She just had her little sickness on the little bridge of the other ship, and she's like, I'm fine, it's okay. And they, I guess, got rid of all of the slaves that were on that planet that were kind of like mining and collecting different things.
Oh, I don't remember that. I remember the Georgia stuff, though.
Okay, so they had to go and rescue Michael's friend.
Oh,
dude.
right, the Orions.
Yes.
Ugh, I hate the design of the Orions in Discovery.
I'm enjoying it. I'm taking it for face value.
What? They give them these prominent chins and these big foreheads. I'm like, just paint them green. What are you doing?
That's just her chin, dude.
Is it really?
Dude, that's so messed up. That's
because everyone, like all the Orions have the prominent chins.
I'm kidding. They probably do.
Okay. Now I feel bad though. Like I don't actually know what she looks like without the makeup. Just
That's
paint them
funny.
green. That's all I'm saying. Just paint them green. Discoveries. I don't care about changing aesthetics, changing like people, like changing creature designs, whatever. But Discovery's like more is best method of being like, let's just dump a bunch of prosthetics on you and we'll make you look alien. It's just ridiculous to me. Less is more, guys. Less is more.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, but you haven't seen. I don't want to spoil in case you haven't. Georgia is still on the show, right?
Yes, she's still there.
Okay. I think the next episode you're going to
Spoiler
enjoy.
question.
No, but like
Well, now you know she's not there anymore. She's gone.
no. The reason why it happens is like a
Fox
really
still alive.
no. The
Okay.
reason why it happens is a really big spoiler.
Gotcha.
Like that.
Okay.
Like if I had known the thing that happens, I would have been pissed. So I'm excited for you.
Sweet deal. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a good season. I think I think season 3 is pretty okay. Not doesn't hold a candle to 2 though. All right. Anyway, that'll do it. So, Mike, where can they find you?
You can find me Downright Nerdy Podcasts. Every week I do a show called Downright Annoyed with Movies with this guy and 4 or 5 other podcasters from across the nation. We talk about movies, and every week we get to choose. We spin a big wheel to choose to get to see who chooses the next movie for the following week. And I actually forgot the movie we're watching this week, but it'll be on Jackson's channel. So make sure you check it out. Bored and Annoyed. But make sure you check out this guy and this guy. They have way more stuff going on than me.
You know, it's tomorrow. You should probably
That's
remember what
tomorrow.
movie that
Sorry,
is.
yeah. But
I'm
by the
gonna
time you
have to
see
watch
this,
it.
I would assume.
Yeah, but what movie is
watched
it?
it? I just don't remember. It's so.
It's a horror movie.
No, it's not. It's like a psychological thriller.
It's scary.
It's not scary. He got scared from Nightmare Before Christmas, so don't take.
Can you
him at
blame
his
me
word.
though? That was an intense movie.
You guys care about Nightmare Before Christmas?
Tim
He did.
Burton is a
did.
legendary director, producer, visionary. When
Cookie.
it comes, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
Because I'm on your side most of the time.
Absentia. That's the movie. It's a Mike Flanagan movie.
Oh, I love Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
All right, Cookie, where can we find you?
Just a little podcast. I drop a new episode every single Tuesday. Unfortunately, I'm going to be taking a little hiatus. So this will be my last episode, I think, coming up this Tuesday. Until maybe December, maybe January. We'll see. Depends on how everything plays out. But I'm going to be trying to go and work on a Patreon, try to work on other shows as well to build up a repertoire. So hopefully people can enjoy that stuff. I'll still be doing shows on YouTube as much as I possibly can.
Why are you taking the hiatus, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, just personal issues with my wife. So we're just going to try to get everything straightened out. And then hopefully once we're all good, everything will come back to normal. But I do want to devote a lot of time to the Patreon. So I want to kind of get like a whole bunch of stuff pre-recorded so that I'm not just throwing out a Patreon and there's nothing there for anybody to enjoy. I want people to actually spend however much money that they actually get something out of it. And I'm trying to figure all that stuff out. It's a lot of work, but I'm sure you know about it because you have your Patreon as well.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. So
No, it's not. We had to discontinue our we have a Patreon exclusive shirt. We had to discontinue that because I have no way of making them anymore.
Gotcha.
Very upset about that. Well, hopefully we'll bring it back. Okay. Guys, before I say all my shit, thank you so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate talking Star Trek with you guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. You can find a bunch of stuff if you like this video and you subscribe to this channel. You can check out our audio feeds. Conversation is on hiatus right now. That is my solo podcast that I do with other podcasters. But there's plenty of episodes out there for you to listen to. I'll probably plug that for another week or two before I start recording season 2. But I already missed doing it, so that shouldn't be too soon. I'm starting a new job soon, one that's not so toxic. So I
Congrats.
hopefully will be able to get back into the groove of it. Then there's a bunch of video stuff on this channel. You can check out, obviously, more Fake Nerds Watch. If you liked us talking about this episode and you haven't watched the other episodes of Fake Nerds Watch Lower Decks, you can check those out right now. We just finished What If? What If episode 1 through 9. That's all up there. That was an all right show. There's Swamp Thing. There's I think 2 episodes of that Dark Crystal show that we never finished. There's Watchmen. There's Lovecraft Country. There's tons and tons of Fake Nerds watches, and there will be more coming. We're looking at doing a Doom Patrol episode, and there's going to be a Hawkeye series. And of course, we talked about it here. We'll probably be doing Discovery. We'll most likely be doing Discovery and maybe Prodigy coming up. So stay tuned for all that good stuff from Fake Nerds Watch. Then there's, of course, Fake Nerd Book Club, which is currently on hiatus. Hopefully, we'll bring that back soon. Animation Station, no new episodes of Animation Station upcoming, but stay tuned. That show is just kind of slow moving. And then there's Basement Arcade. Basement Arcade is back with a vengeance for Spooktober, where we sit down and play a bunch of horror video games with Ben, and he gets scared. There are 2 episodes of that that have dropped this week for Reminiscence, I believe the game is called, and Five Nights at Freddy's, which was a lot of fun to record. There's a moment in Five Nights at Freddy's where I just throw my headphones at the TV because I was telling Ben to close the door. That was a lot of fun. So you can find those up on this channel as well. And of course, speaking of Ben Magnet, his show, Basement Arcade Pause Menu, which he just recorded, just put up an episode with Sin Spacies, an Australian podcast. That's up now in both audio and video feeds. And you can find all those if you like this video and you subscribe to this channel. A lot of cool stuff. I think that's everything. I'm pretty sure that's everything, except for the Fake Nerd Podcast, which is our mothership show. We do tons and tons of things for Fake Nerd Podcast this week. Of course, you got the usual news and whatnot, but we're talking about Dune.
Yes.
Denis Villeneuve's new film, Dune, Part 1. Because real quickly, when the movie starts, Dune, Part 1. They quickly get the Part 1 out there. So stay tuned for that. That'll be up. By the time you're probably watching this, that's probably already up, and we're talking about Last Night in Soho next. So there you go. A lot of cool stuff from this channel, from us, from these guys. Subscribe to their channels, of course. And
I did forget one thing that I actually am doing on November 1st. November 1st, that's a Monday night at 6 p.m. I'll be on John's Comics with Kids channel. I'm going to be playing Comicories. So it's a fun. Comicories is a really fun game show on YouTube. Yeah, it is intense. It's essentially you get 30 seconds to try to find a comic book with a cover of the genre of the category that is chosen. So let's say there's one of Hero in Distress. You have 30 seconds to try to find a cover that best describes that genre, and then you show it off, and you have to try to sell it to the audience that everybody watching, and they vote in the chat, and it's a ton of fun. So I highly recommend check it. It is a ton of fun, dude. So check out Comicories on John's Comics with Kids channel this November 1st on day after Halloween. And vote for me, please, because I've only been on once, and it was kind of embarrassing. So I got to redeem myself.
You have a Harry Potter series coming up soon, don't you?
No, because so I was planning on doing a Harry Potter rewatch with a bunch of friends from the community, but for some weird reason my video editing software has decided to take a crap on me, and I have no idea how to fix it right now. So I may be either forking out money for a new video editing software and trying to relearn something completely different, or I have to either upgrade my computer system because now the requirements for them have exceeded my capacity, or I just don't do it. And as of right now, I'm probably not going to be doing it right now. So,
all right. Well, there you go.
No. So thank you for pouring that salt in the wound.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Still love you.
I didn't know. All right. So until next time you see us, live long and prosper.